I can't get enough of that. I don't know.
Whoa.
What was that?
That was my bad.
Oh, okay. I don't even know what you did there.
I keep wondering how your videos don't get like pulled down from having that like as the opening. Like,
I don't know. It's just I think it's because I'm just awesome. Yeah, no, I don't know, man. I don't think anyone gives a shit about me yet.
I thought you were supposed to like you could only have like 10 seconds or something. That's what I was.
Yeah. I don't know if anyone's really trying to hunt down like Hanna-Barbera openings from like esoteric Godzilla stuff yet. But I mean, I have G.I. Joe and Hulk and stuff like that. But I guess you're right. I mean, someone's eventually going to say something. So
I'm gonna mess with my camera.
Yeah, for sure. We get that sweet Ryan face.
Yeah, that's right.
That's okay.
There we go.
Yeah. So anyway, people are out there listening to us right now, I'm sure, while we dick around here. So we got Alan out there saying howdy, Alan. We're gonna do some CGC unboxing tonight. It's kind of a continuation of the pre-screens I did last week. But these aren't G.I. Joes. These are just the other stuff. And then I have a final book that came back at the same time as an Express. And it's a good one, and I'm quite excited about it. And so anyway, but before we do that, I would like to introduce Ryan from Automatic Comics, who's awesome. And then we got Joel, who's Newbie Comics. He's okay. He's okay.
Yeah, he's all right.
Yeah. And we're just gonna. I was thinking about pulling out. I haven't been doing a lot of videos lately. I've been working so much, and now I'm back on I'm kind of working like very part-time over the next 3 months, and I might even just not work for the next 3 months because I just need some downtime. And so I need to make some videos too and do all this kind of stuff. I haven't had a chance to do anything. So I have like piles of books piled up like that I need to like show people like on videos. And I thought we might as well start now. And I have a couple pickups for the last week. So I don't know if you guys are interested.
It takes a long time to put videos together. I mean, it's like I have so many ideas that I want to do, and I'm just like, God, it's like 5 hours per video, you know, and it's
I gotta be honest, man, like doing this live the way we're doing it right now is just so much easier. Like, editing something. 100%. It's just I know you get less views and stuff. I just don't care. It's just like, you know what, man? Like people will see it in the rewind, I guess. But do you do live very often, Ryan?
I've never done live. I just got this mic so that basically I can start to try doing live. So.
And it worked really well too.
Oh yeah, it was real smooth at the start there. So
hey, Highlight Comic Bro just said sup. I love that guy, man. That guy's
He's
cool.
a good guy. I was on a show once.
Yeah, me too. That's how I think I met you. Is like I think you were after me because you're the other Canadian. Yeah,
I think I was like in December or.
It would have been. I was like September, I think. But man, he's a good interviewer.
Maybe. He's
last ride.
He's good people. No.
So yeah, we got to go to Miami and see him and eat some Cubano sandwiches.
Cubanos. Yeah, man.
I love that kind of stuff. I guess Automatic Comics is not with us anymore. But you know what, man? Why don't we just talk? Why don't I show some books anyway?
Yeah, let's do it, man. I'm back, man. Every time you put up books, I'm like, okay.
Well, the first one I got here is I've got an Iron Man. Oh, here he is. Let me just pop him in.
I'm trying to make this easy on you, you know?
Yeah, no, it's really worked out well for me. Last time I invite this guy.
I was trying to open a second window to see the chat, and I closed the entire thing. I was like, and then I was just wondering if my swearing came through on the mic afterwards.
Oh no, you just disappeared, man. It was like donk. So yeah, swearing's good. I don't mind it. This is not a children's show. But anyway, Ryan, we're talking about some books that I picked up this week. I'm just showing off some stuff I got. So I got an Iron Man 255, which is the first Crimson Dynamo. Well, it's the second version of Crimson Dynamo because the first one is worth like $1 million. So
aren't there like 15 versions of Crimson Dynamo? Like,
I think
the first one I think it's early Tales of Suspense, like 50 or
it's in the 50s, I think. Yeah. So I just grabbed it. It was like $4. So I have a sneaking suspicion. But this book coming up here is a book that recently got really hot, and I'm a big believer in it, and I've been kind of snagging it for a while. But I recently just grabbed, like, this is incredibly difficult to get in high grade, even though it's a modern, is New Avengers 40.
Very hard.
Well, I mean, I keep in mind, I have 40 of them, and I only have probably
very difficult.
6, 9, 8. Hey, I was buying them when no one knew about it. So I'm just lucky I got these. I'm genuinely excited about getting these 5 copies. again, I dare you guys to find 9/8. It's like it's really hard. It's really
So
there's really hard.
Do you do most of your pickups like that from shops, or are you buying a lot of that on eBay too? Or
all over the place. It's like again, I'm one of those guys who I'm like a dog with a bone. It's like I get a list together, and I'm phoning like my mom's brother's aunt, or do you got any comic books? You got a new Avengers 40? Like I'm kind of crazy, so it's just I just turn them up everywhere. So. But those ones came from online. It was actually through a guy that I bought from eBay a while ago, and then we just kind of chat, and he just said, "What are you looking for?" And I told him what I was looking for, and he said, "Yeah, I got these." And well, I also got these from him too. So, Supreme Power issue 2. It's the first appearance of Kyle Richmond, who is Nighthawk. This is a cheap book. It's like a dollar bin book. Seriously, you can buy them for $2. They're super cheap. I don't know. You just spend $20 on it and get 10 of them and see what happens. It's just one of those nice little specs. So I also grabbed a couple of these because everyone's going crazy about these.
I got one of those. Yep.
Yeah. I got a few others too. I've been kind of snagging them when they're cheap, but they seem like they're getting. It seems like there's a lot of spec on it.
They're not
9/8 are like 400, I think.
Is that true?
Yeah.
What are they going for?
I think they're going for like 400.
Yeah.
The cover A. Yeah.
Really? Huh. And there's a few variants, isn't there?
That's not cover A, is it?
Yeah, that's cover A.
Oh, that is cover A.
That is cover A. Yeah, I
thought there was like a blue cover. I thought that was cover.
Honestly, there's like a few ratios and like a different couple covers for it. Like I've seen like 4 or 5 of them. I think there's like a sketch one. Like I could be wrong, but yeah, there's a lot of them.
I bought a 9/8 of another cover, and I couldn't tell you what it is, thinking like it was a great deal. It was like really cheap, and then I went online and realized that it was
like
cheap.
Foil or something.
No one gave a shit about it. It's like no one wants it. It is cheap. It's just a cheap book. So I also picked up
nice Ninja Psylocke.
Well, yeah, these are great. These are cheap books. You can still get these reasonable in shops and stuff. You'll see these high grade, and it's something I want to talk about in a minute here. There's so many of these kind of books that are like, if you have 9/8 are going in the $300, $400, $500 range for some reason. Like people want them in 9/8 for the collections, but you can still grab these in 9/8 like raw for $5-10.
I mean, any popular Wolverine cover right now, it's like, just go for 9/8 of it, and it's going to be worth a ton of money.
Totally,
I mean,
totally.
It's just everybody, like, you can't get 181s anymore without. I mean, you can, but without paying thousands of dollars. You can't
get 180 at this point.
Yeah,
people I think most people are like, okay, I might be a player at like Wolverine #1 at this point because those other books are just, it's the sad truth. Like look at Marvel Presents 72 in a 9/8. That's almost a $700 book.
I mean, I think more than that. Like I was watching it and I saw, because I was like, well, maybe I can grab one for like a little cheaper. And the last auction, I think I saw sell for $870, and they've broken 1,000. There have been a couple sales over 1,000. So,
I got my 9/8. Really? I got 2 of them. Yeah, I got my 9/8 for $2. So I'm
because that's what they were worth. I mean, that's what they were worth. Like it's just like it's the origin. I mean, it makes sense. It should be worth probably more than the $2, but
it's a cool book.
It got expensive quick.
It was published like a lot. I remember I was buying comics then, and it was a big book when it came out. Everyone had a copy. So
that's why I feel like when I was a kid, that was the one I didn't get because it was too expensive for me. It was like $10 or something. And so I was like, I'll get the ones after that. So I think I have almost every issue after that, but I don't think I have the first one.
I passed up on a 9/8 for $108 Canadian, like I think like 2-3 weeks before it blew up. And I was like, no, there's no way. Like no.
What do they say? You never regret what you buy, you regret what you don't buy.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's the truth, man. That's the truth.
In this market right now.
And unless you're the person that bought that Strange Tales 169 9/8 last weekend.
I saw it. Was that $23,000?
$21,600, I think. And so it's nuts. It is insane. That's more than Special Marvel Edition 15 in a 9/8. And that one has a movie coming out this year. This other one's just a secondary character in another movie.
If the rumors are true and what they're going to do with that character, it could be a really great buy in the long run.
I don't argue that it may be worth that at some point. I
don't think it's worth that now.
Right now.
I agree with you. I couldn't
Like
agree more.
I always do the compare game, man. At that price point, there's way bigger books that you could buy, even if you were just buying them for investment purposes or flipping. Way more that you
I gotta be honest though, a guy that's paying that kind of money for that book already has, in my opinion, probably has.
You hope. You
Yeah.
hope. Sometimes it can be people that are like thinking they're playing like a spec game or something. And
yeah.
I mean, because actually, I've got a video I'll probably drop tomorrow where I'm doing like a market analysis, and that's one of the books I'm talking about. And I do exactly what you're talking about, Newbie, where I was looking at other books, like other big Bronze Age keys, and it's like Amazing Spider-Man 129, 9.8, 33 grand. You know, Special Marvel Edition, 14 grand. What was another one? Tomb of Dracula, 10, 25 grand. All those books bigger right now than that book, and should that book shouldn't be even in the same breath.
And like you said, with movies and projects coming out, right? So
I think with the market the way it is, if I was to pick one book that I think is going to go giant size X-Men on our asses, it's going to be Tomb of Dracula 10. It's the beginning of a whole universe. That's but I mean, if Marvel's going down a horror route, which sounds like they are, I still think that book's severely undervalued. I think it really is. I mean, you can get 7.0s for like $1,800.
Yeah, you have to look at what. And again, if people get offended by this, I'm sorry. It's Shang-Chi, not Shang-Chi. I was saying it's Shang. I got told it's Shang. So whatever you want to call it. But
you're a monster.
You look at that Marvel Special Edition 15.
It's also Cuban sandwiches, not Cubano, because Hilea Comic Bro just corrected us. Yeah. Which, by the way, I thank you for correcting me, so I don't act like an idiot when I go to Miami.
For the longest time, like we were talking about it on my channel with my guys and stuff, where we were basically saying, "Hey guys, you know, like," because we would always get asked, like, "Hey, what key should I buy right now?" And I would always say, like, look at I don't have love for Shang-Chi or Shang-Chi. Like, it's not a character I grew up with or whatever. So, like, if I don't really love the character, I'm going to pass. But for the longest time, like, an 8.0 was like $600 to $800, like 2 weeks before the trailer dropped. And now you're looking at almost $2,000, $2,500. Again, my prices are in Canadian, but, like, that's what that Tomb of Dracula is going to do. It's like –
I'll be honest with you. With that first Shang-Chi, anyone who invests in more than one copy is a fool.
I'm totally kidding. I know, because I have my 12 copies of that book. So
no, I actually think you're a freaking genius. Like, I have 2 copies, but like they're I don't have a 9. I have like a 7.5 and a 6.0, and I'm really happy with those. I mean, I got them for like $100 each, like 3 years ago. I'm cool, but I wish I had 10 of them.
Yeah, and you could have like as early as like a month ago, you could have had like 10 of them at a reasonable price.
Yeah.
I mean, it was only 2 months ago that I think I bought my 9.4 and I paid like $1,300.
Mean, and now you
get for you, man. That's the way you do it. That's the way you play the game.
It's crazy. Like, it's nuts. I wish I would have kept my I had a 9.6 that I sold before I started hoarding them, you know, like last year. But I've never had a 9.8 of that book though. But I don't know if you saw. There was a post from Golden Age Guru where he got back his copies of that from CGC. It's got like 3 9.8s, like 4 9.6s. It's absurd.
That guy has crazy books, man. Yeah. Like every time he like gets boxes back from CGC, it's something to watch. Mm-hmm. Especially like Golden Age stuff. But let's move on. I showed this last week in a graded form, but I got another.
Oh Frog.
Frog.
Throng? Is it Throng? Yeah, but anyway,
that's how I'm gonna pronounce it, man. And people can
I just think it's a great book. They're cheap, raw, like and reasonable, and I just think with Thor coming, all these are going to go well. So I'm going to get them all graded and see what they do, and they've all gone up quite a bit.
They've had him in the animated stuff. Like I've seen clips of him in the animated stuff. So I don't know if they'll bring him into the movies.
Well, they brought Rocket Raccoon in, and there's multiverse, but there's multiverse stuff coming in. Here's the thing: like anything's possible with multiverse.
That's right. Right.
Anything, like craziest ideas that you could think of may happen, even if it's only for a blink of an eye. Yeah, it's pretty goddamn cool if it did, and it's pretty cool. So my next book is a book that it's actually a G.I. Joe book, but it's a particularly rare book. I don't find these very often, and I couldn't recommend it enough if you're a G.I. Joe fan. It's G.I. Joe America's Elite issue 25. And it's got every character that's ever been in the series on the cover and back cover, which I can't even imagine.
So when did that come out?
Oh God, I don't even know.
I think that one's from like 08.
Something like that. Yeah, it's around. Yeah,
Okay,
it's,
so
it's
a much more modern book than
it's a super modern book. Yeah, comparatively to the Marvel stuff. And I'm not someone who buys this stuff, but like it has a pile of first appearances.
Yeah,
so
I think it's like 13 or 20 of them.
Yeah, it's like a catch-all for stuff. And so, but what's happened with this book is really interesting. Is I went and grabbed a couple because I'd heard about this book being like kind of like a lot of first appearances, and I thought I'm not buying a lot of modern stuff. I'm more of a Marvel guy, and I always will be. And so I thought I'd grab this just to see, what would happen. And now I'm addicted to it. And I've gotten like 3 copies because but it's actually going up. Like you can't get this in 9.8.
Chris will always tell you too. He'll be like, yeah, this is really hard to get, but I've got 65 copies. Okay. But
well, it's really hard to get because I got 65 copies.
But only 7 of them are 9.8s. So it's like,
it is. I mean, hey man, I could get like 500 copies of other books. It's just certain books I only could get 3 because I worked my ass off to get it.
Yeah.
So, but and I showed these on IG recently. I'm sending this off to CBCS. I've decided it's a signed Marv Wolfman.
Yeah, you were talking about that for a while.
Yeah, it's after looking at it, it's probably going to come back like a 9.4. I actually thought it might be a 9.8 potential.
Dude, 9.4s are reaching 1,000 Canadian.
Really?
Yeah, because in US 9.6s are just crossing 1,000 now. So I wouldn't be surprised if 9.4s are getting up there.
9.8s in that book are they will where I think the market is. I think it will probably reach $4,000 because I think the last sale was like 3,900. So you're probably talking about $4,000 at the end of the month.
I sold 3 of them this week.
Jesus.
Well, I have a bunch, right? So that's the book that made my collection. So yeah.
And that's what I was doing last year. I wish I would have bought more 9.8s of number 1, but I was buying 9.8s of 3 and 2.
It was funny last year when I was talking about Eternals number 1. Everyone's like, "That spec's done. It's never going to go anywhere." And it's like that's crazy. It was you could buy 9.8s for under $1,000. They were like $800
for mine.
Yeah, and they were floating around that for almost a year. So they were actually higher the year prior. They had dropped a bit, and
I remember when they dropped. Yeah, like November, December they dropped because they were like $200, $280 for like a 9.6.
Oh, we got Roger there. Roger, how you doing, pal? What's up, my Canadian bitches? Hey, just a sec, guys. I want to say hi to everyone. I got no FOMO ever. I sold my new Avengers 40 variant CGC 9.8.
Ooh,
wow. Ooh, I wish I bought it. I would have loved to have owned that. I got Best Core. Hey, big. Actually, I bet you got good money for that book because I think it goes for $500.
Well, it depends when he sold it, right?
True. Yeah, that's a fact. Best Core says, "Hey, big guy." Best Core's a cool guy. I see him on IG all the time. He's a fun guy. AA Comics, New Ages Aslan's 9.8. They are blowing up. Just got a second print back from CGC. Good for you. I can't wait to see it. And then Newbie's talking in there too, and Swamp Comics and Wes Thompson. Hey guys, how you doing? And what else does Roger say? VCJ, where's my mother effing wrench?
Yeah, he did that on my show too. Doesn't even say hello. The first thing he says is like, "Hey man, where's my wrench?" Like,
oh man, I love Roger. So hey, but we're gonna go back into some more pickups. So I picked up a few of these. I've been picking up. So like about 2 years ago, a friend of mine, Greg Gurr, who is my presser, we used to chat about like what should we be buying. We realized that like all the stuff that we loved, which was X-Men, was so undervalued. So like we picked up like 20 copies of like X-Men 184, like because you could. They were like $3 each, and we were just buying them like crazy. And all those little keys, like I think I had 10 copies of 221, and like we just grabbed them because we wanted 9.8s because you weren't going to get 9.8s on everything. We just buy them. And look at what they've done now. Like a lot of those books have really taken off. Like even First Forge, which has been a dead book pretty much forever, is now like floating in the 250, 300 range in 9.8s.
So do you think that's almost entirely because of the pressable defects and they're like the Comic Forge?
I wouldn't doubt it.
I wonder
man.
if like people are like buying them, because of that.
It's a good book. No, Forge is a cool character, man. But I actually they love that character.
Yeah,
they're always promoting.
There was 2 that sold yesterday. I was watching them myself on eBay. 9.6s CGC they sold for $180 Canadian.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, so my thought was this is like so we did this for all the books from like the Byrne era all the way up into the late 200s.
Mhm.
Just every odd book here and there, and we've done really well off them. Like really well. And so we thought, well, fuck, man. Like, what about the next 300 or 100 issues? And I started just grabbing multiples. They're all dollar bin books of. Are you guys frozen on me? Oh no, it looked like
I'm good.
it actually looked like you guys froze on me. That's how exciting I am. I've been picking up just.
I'm trying to get on the chat, so I'm trying to focus on stuff.
Chris, I will say that one, like the way you were holding it, I couldn't see what it was just because of the glare.
Yeah, the light. Yeah, I can't see it.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So what is that?
Here, just a sec. I'm gonna get rid of one of these lights. Ugh. How's that look? Da, da, da. Now can you see it?
A little bit. What is that?
Yeah,
X-Men 290
It's 311.
or 311? Wow, way off.
So and 312, which is first appearance of Phalanx. These are just characters that are, have potential, and they're cheap and they're nothing characters. And I've just been grabbing a lot of that kind of stuff. And what I've also been grabbing is
Roger, man, get out of here.
yeah, I know with that.
He says that all the time, man. Even on my shows, he's like, "Give us the price in US." I'm like,
he should be used to it though.
Yeah, true. Yeah, true. But I've also been doing the same thing with like the Byrne X-Men run. All the little first appearances in the Byrne X-Men run. And some of them are starting to light up right now.
yeah,
Like 243, 244, 245 I've always been touting. But like there's tons of neat little first appearances in here. Like just tons. And so I just grab a few of each. And they're all like at this stage you can buy 9.8 copies for nothing. Like raw. So that's what I've been going after. So also grabbed some Transformers, but high grade, like issue 63, which is kind of a harder to get book. Anything after 60.
I don't think I've ever seen that one.
Yeah, it's just another one. I mean, there's a lot I haven't seen too. So this actually was one I hadn't seen too.
And you said you submitted a bunch of Transformers recently too, right?
Yeah, I got a bunch going through. My wife pressed them, and it's probably 50 of them. And kind of like I did with the Joe books. I'm just trying to get them before I can't.
I'm just pre-screens or
I'm doing pre-screens on those as well. So, but I mean, they won't even show up at CGC till like what, November? Yeah. The way it's going
at this rate.
Yeah, it's crazy. I've been grabbing some random mask books. I got a 9.8 and number 1, so I just wanted to grab some more. Just again, these are like $3 each. They're reasonable. And that's Canadian too, so that's like 50 cents for you.
So some of those mask books are getting really pricey. His first appearance, I think, is in it. It's not a mask book though, is it? There's like a different book. It's like a real weird cover.
It's actually in a toy comic that came with a toy.
Yep.
I don't know if people consider that a true first appearance, but it's. I have a copy of it, and I'm gonna get it graded at some point. But man, it wasn't easy to get. Sorry.
The preview one is something that people should look for. That one too. Yeah,
I got a couple of those. I bought my comic shop was selling them like for about $80 and 9.8, so I bought a couple, which was cool. Grabbed some GI Joes, more high grade GI Joes because you can't get enough GI Joes when I see them. And here's another book that I'm really it's super cheap, and I with Hercules #1. It's his first book by himself, like for his own series. It's just like it's that book. It's super cheap. I think this is the Moon Knight #1 of Hercules.
Ooh, yeah. What year is that, Chris?
It's about 82. And I know there's another series that's like 84, but this is like his first series. And when his first appearance is blowing up right now, and the next step's this. Guys are going to go after this.
Yeah.
So
I mean, Moon Knight #1 is crazy. Like
it's nuts.
I have a couple copies of it, and I was looking at. I bought a newsstand 9.8 like in like August of last year. I think for $225. I mean, it's like that book is now $1,200.
Yeah.
Like it was enough. It was like a book nobody cared about, and now it's that whole thing. It's like Werewolf by Night 32 is too expensive for most people to get, and they're moving on to Marvel Spotlight 28 and Moon Knight #1.
And this one, and I'm not curious. Like I mean, you can get this for under $5. It's super high grade. You can pick what you want right now. And I still remember 3 years ago, the same was with Moon Knight #1. No one gave. I remember stacks of them sitting on tables, and for $5, no one gave a shit about it. And I'm like, nah, I'll get it later. And now I only have, I have 3, which I'm happy with. I mean, it's more than enough. But I wish I had 30 because $30,000 would be great. That would go.
I mean, the 9.8 of that book, I think it's over 50 grand. I mean, it is
Werewolf by Night.
Or sorry, Werewolf by Night.
Yeah.
So just like the
price, it's always kind of been like that. Even I remember back in the day, like 10, 15 years ago, that 9.8 book was severely not overpriced, but like high priced, simply because I don't think there's many. There's like 3 or something. It's kind of like the Marvel Spotlight 5. It's just a difficult book to get in high grade.
Yeah, I think Marvel Spotlight 5. I think there's 4.
Yeah,
because I was looking at those different like Bronze Age books to get counts, like numbers of 9.8s that exist, and that one is insanely low.
Totally
incredibly low.
Yes, Roger, $5 Canadian. So I'm going to move on. I've got another Joe book here, issue 113. This is an era of Joe book that is actually kind of hard to get in high grade. They didn't print a lot of them, and they're going for some pretty significant money in like between about issue 98 through about 120. They're, these aren't cheap at all, and they're not easy to get. So if you do see them,
what are the final issues? Is it 155?
It's like 150. I'd say like 152 through 155 are all fairly tough to get. 155 is a lot easier to find than you'd think, just because I think people pointed it out a lot earlier. But like 154 is a really tough book to get in a 9.8. Like it's almost impossible, unless you have big money and you could search for it. But another book I picked up, I believe in this book. It's first of Mega Flight. I think Alpha Flight is like one of the coolest teams. I'm Canadian, obviously I love it, but the saying that Alpha Flight was a huge freaking deal in the States too. In the 80s, I would say when Alpha Flight #1 came out, it was one of the biggest deals in comics that year. Easily, because Byrne was behind it. He was like the Todd McFarlane of his era. He was such a big deal. And they created a really great team. And with Wolverine, the connections to Wolverine, I just see Alpha Flight playing into this whole MCU thing. So I've just been snagging the certain books from it, and there's some good ones, man.
What's their first? Is it 120? X-Men 120?
It's 120. It's funny because when we were young, 121 was the first appearance, and the cameo was 120. But the markets dictated the opposite. The market. And I think it's because the cover is cooler for 120. Yeah, and it's also harder to get in high grade because it's a black cover. So I got 2 more Raw books here, 3 more actually, and they are. I got more of these. The first Dead's Head.
That was going for crazy money like a year ago. I don't know if it's still.
It can if it's graded. If they're graded, they go for good money. But Raws, if you can get best off. I mean, I'm not paying a lot.
It's like a magazine size, right?
It is. Yeah, it's kind of like Captain Britain from the UK. Like I don't know if you've seen those. They're made of paper. Yep. Like it feels like a newspaper, and they're very difficult to get in high grade. Except for those Captain Britain #1s, for some reason, there's a million 9.8s and 9.6s. So, which I have one of, but I think Death's Head's like, I don't know if you guys ever read about Death's Head back in the 90s. He was a super cool character, and I personally would love to see him in the MCU. I don't know if he will be, but he'd be super cool. But I don't know why. Every time I see one for cheap, I go for it. So
it's not a bad.
I'm surprised you come across him very often. I remember, like, I hadn't heard about that character until maybe about a year ago, and I went searching on eBay, and I only found one, and it was in the UK.
One of these came from the UK. Okay. One of these came from the UK. The other one came from an eBay purchase, and then another one I have on the way I got on Facebook, and I haven't paid more than $100 Canadian for any of them. So, yeah, it was good. Oh, wait a minute. I traded a book for one of them, but it's a higher grade one, and I was really happy with the trade. 2 more books. These are a little bit more interesting. I post these on IG, so you two might know about them. Guardians of the Galaxy, which I love.
I at one point, I think I had 6 or 7 graded copies of that book, and because it was like you could just, after the movie came out,
no one gave a shit.
People stopped paying attention.
Kind of like Amazing Spider-Man 300 next year. Anyway.
Oh man, you're gonna get so many downvotes, right?
I'm telling you guys, I'd sell your Amazing Spider-Man 300s and buy them again next year.
Yeah. That's what I did. That's what I did. So.
Yeah, 100%. I don't give a shit what anyone says. You can come at me on IG, Vancouver Comic Junkie. it doesn't matter. It's like it's just a fact. Go look at the stats of like what happens. But you're dead right. That this book went dead, and it's still kind of dead.
Yep.
And
Well,
it's
the surprising thing though was that about a month ago, maybe 4 to 6 weeks ago, I sold all of them. It's like all of a sudden people cared about them again, and every single copy I had listed, and then I had like 3 I had held back. I listed those sold, and so
did you keep any?
No, I don't have any anymore.
I think you're going to regret that, sir.
Well, but I buy other stuff, and so it's never that I just like pile up money or something. I'm always it's like that money instantly turns into more comics.
I'm absolutely the same way. I always wanted like I'm hoping to get a 7.5 out of that, which is kind of my grade.
Oh, that's good coin.
And I'd like to have that stay in my collection because I do have my own collection that I don't perceive selling ever, or at least not in the next 20 years. Mm-hmm. So then that would, I would like that to be added. And this book coming up will be added to that collection as well. I got a Sergeant Fury and His Howling Commandos #1.
That book has exploded in the last in the last like 4 weeks. It has gone crazy. Yeah, and I think like a 2.5 or a 3 is over $1,000 now. I think I saw a 1.5 sell for over $1,000 recently. Wow. Yeah, I mean, so it could be even because I know I had a 2 that I think it was a 2.0 that I sold for like $660 or $680 maybe a month ago, and then it was like 2 weeks later it was going for like $1,000. I was like, damn it! And it's just like the instant a key catches on right now, it doubles. It doubles almost instantly.
That's happening in Werewolf by Night 32 at the moment. Like, I don't know if you've been watching the numbers on that, but it's going into it's going to be giant size X-Men soon.
Werewolf by Night what?
32.
32,
yeah. It's a pricey little number, but yeah, it's doubled in value. Like, I mean, in like a month, it's crazy. So anyway, I'm really happy to have this. I don't have a lot of this era of book, so any chance I get to buy one, and a local dealer.
You think that was?
It's got tape. It's got a rip and tape across the cover, but it presents really well. So I don't know how to grade tape. So I'm thinking like a 1.5, 1.8, maybe a 2.0 on a good day. I think that tape's gonna kill it. Yeah, what do you think, Ryan?
The tape usually makes it so it maxes out around a 4, but then you've got to. I mean, I don't know how long the tear is. What is it, like 3 inches or so? 4 inches?
It's about 4 inches.
Yeah, so I would say your top end is like a 3.
Dude, if I got a 3, I would go crazy.
But depending on what everything else kind of looks like, I'd say top end 3. But
if I got a 3, I'd go nuts. It presents really well, and the back cover is really nice. So I don't actually care what it comes back at. I'm gonna get it graded because I like graded books. But if it came back a 1.8, I wouldn't be destroyed because I paid well under that for it. Yeah. I'm very lucky how I got a deal on it. But I got a couple graded books as well. And Roger Levesque had something to do with some of them.
Ooh, let's see.
Okay, what do I got here? Actually, you had something to do with some of them too.
Ooh, okay.
So I picked this up. It was a low grade, but it was a friend of mine, Nerdy Father, on YouTube and on IG. He sold it to me, and I'm more than happy to have as many of these as I can because I think this is one of the most underrated Silver Age keys going. Personally,
I think that's the book to own for him. It's either that one or, I mean, if you're going Silver Age, it's that book. If you're going Bronze, it's Marvel Premiere #1.
Listen, I'm a Fantastic Four fan. Like, after Iron Man, it's Fantastic Four for me. And I always tell people, I'm like, stay away from 67.
It's the ugliest cover ever.
It's so ugly.
I have like a few of them. Like I bought a bunch of them a long time ago when they were like really cheap raw. But saying that, I feel like you could never have enough of this. Like, this is the kind of book that, like, it's like your Marvel, your first Shang-Chi, Ryan. You're going to turn those into some major league, like gold and silver. So that's what I'd like.
That one's already 1,000 book. I think at like a 5.5, 6.0, still $1,000 Canadian for that one.
Really?
It's probably up there now. Yeah, I haven't been pricing them for a while because I've got a raw book, but I sold my graded one a while ago, and so I don't really watch that one as much. But I figure it's gotten expensive like everything else.
So. It is. It's not but it hasn't blown up. Like like I was noticing like a 7.5 because I have a 7.5 copy, it hasn't really raised in value significantly in the last 6 months, like a lot of others have.
I would treat that like the same way that the reason why I bought, like the Eternals stuff and the Shang-Chi stuff is that that's coming. Like we know that movie is coming, and that was the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Like there's no way they aren't pulling that character in. There's no way, and so just if you buy them, I would say you're going to see that character. It may be 5 years, but you're going to see them, and they're going to be worth it.
Oh, yeah.
Can I play devil's advocate here real quick? And, we can move on right after.
Yeah, because I love that.
If you had a choice between that one and Tomb of Dracula 10, what are you grabbing?
Price-wise?
I think
there's more value in this.
I'd probably buy the Thor.
Yeah.
Same.
But I think they're pretty comparable.
Yeah.
I still think the Tomb of Dracula 10 is very. I think the Tomb of Dracula, like Blade, could be a much bigger part of the MCU than people have any idea of.
Yeah.
Simply because
they are expensive for a Bronze Age book now, though. I mean, I know you said there's more room on them, but I mean, it's $1,000 for a mid grade. That's a lot of money for a lot of people.
True. No, you're right. You're right. So Roger did a charity recently, and we all put through some. We bought like for a raffle. It was a raffle thing. I had a hard time speaking all of a sudden for some reason, but we did this raffle. You buy some spots, and I bought a few spots, and I also gave
a few.
Yeah, I bought 20 spots. Hey, it was for a good cause, guys. It was for a good cause. It was a great cause actually. It was I can't remember. Is it Paulie Strong? I forget. That's what it was.
So yes.
Yeah, that was a great interview.
Was it? Oh, I was like glassy eyed when I saw that interview. Like it was hard for me to get through it, quite frankly. And good, it should, because it was such a tragic thing that happened to that man. It was beautiful actually what Roger's been doing. And he's been raising money and buying Lego, like clean Legos for kids, like cancer patient children. Because they can't play with toys that have been played with other people because they could kill them. So he is going out and buying these things for these children. And it's Roger's truly, like, if you get to know Roger, he's one of the most giving men that on earth. And he gives his time to so many things. And he truly is a great man. And we're very lucky to have him in our community. Yeah. Saying that, he could be a little cantankerous at times. And he also got me some nice books. So I've got this Captain Marvel. What is it? Issue 8. I don't really buy a lot of this kind of stuff, so it's a little new to me. It's first appearance of a character named Star. I won this in the raffle.
It's a good pickup.
Sorry?
It's a good pickup.
Is it? I'm happy to hear that. I also got Revenge of the Cosmic Ghost Rider #1, which I thought was a really cool cover. So I'm quite happy with that. I don't really.
Is that like a Crane cover, or who did the cover for that?
It is Scorpion Comics, Clayton Crane. Yeah, Clayton Crane.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cool looking cover.
His stuff is awesome.
It's pretty neat.
Just so good.
I won a third spot, so I ended up getting this too. A New Mutants
nice.
#1. Yeah, it's cool. I think I was like the last on the list, so there really wasn't a lot to pick from. I generally wouldn't get a 9.4 on this, but saying that,
I still haven't seen that movie.
I'm not unhappy. It's not.
I watched it like 2 weeks ago. It was fine.
It's fine. Yeah. You're dead right. It's fine. And then I got 2 more books. And by the way, Roger, thank you for those books. I'm super happy. So, and then our guy Newbie here talked me into this, and he's really smart about this spec. So
Newbie?
I picked
spec. What? No,
you're pretty good at this. So I picked up 2 of these while we were drinking on StreamYard last week or 2 weeks ago. This is the first appearance of AI Iron Man, which if rumors are to be true, they're going to be bringing back Robert Downey Jr. And the only way they could bring him back is AI, basically. So or through multiverse, but AI would be a really smart way. And this is the first appearance of that, and I just think it's like a crazy cheap book. So I just picked it up. I'm going to see what happens.
So after you did that Dr. Dolittle movie that was kind of terrible, he was like, I need some more money.
Yeah.
He signed me up for another Avengers movie.
Dude, it's crazy though. Guys like that do. Like he he's worth a fortune, like kind of money that all of us would never even imagine owning. But like they go through money like crazy, those guys.
I imagine his burn rate is very high.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's not like $2,000 a month or anything. Like that's just on like cut flowers in the kitchen.
Yeah,
When he wakes up in the morning. So I guess it's probably time to open some CGC books.
All right.
I got the box. So these are the pre-screen 9/8, and we're going to start with. And I'm happy with everything. I'm quite happy with everything. And Greg Gurr at Greg and Greg Pressing on Facebook, go check him out. He pressed and cleaned all these books, and I'm very happy with everything. I've known him since I was 6 years old. In my opinion, he's one of the great pressers that this world has, and he's very, very well priced too. So I got 2 New Avengers, issue 7, First Illuminati, 9/8. Quite happy with that. Everyone should know this. This is Illuminati. There's been rumors that they're going to show up at some point. Regardless, it's still a cool book, and it's cool. Illuminati is just cool. And so I was fortunate to be able to kind of snag a few of these raw a long time ago. And I mean, if you're not getting 9/8 in these, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So
the only piece of advice I would have for people is go take a look at who's involved in Illuminati, and maybe things connect for you down the road.
Oh, totally, man. Yeah. No, it's exciting stuff, actually. Our next book is, I'm just going to take over. I'm going to highlight that guy.
Oh, nice.
That's number 1.
Oh,
No, it's number 1.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
I have a number 8 in, is it number 8? Yeah. First Captain Universe in a 9/8, but I never had a number 1. And so I have a pile of raws, and this is my first 9/8. So I'm going to keep this one for my collection, and I'm quite happy with it. So there's a movie being made right now. So that's cool. I don't know what's going to come of it, but this is like, if you're my age, this would be something that everyone had in there. Yeah. Everyone had it. It was it's just neat to have it in 9/8 now. So I'm quite happy with that. Now I got, we saw this one earlier, but now we're going to see it again in a 9/8.
All right.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's cool. I just want to get all these little mini keys in 9/8 before I can't. So
and it's such a better cover than that. What is it? New Mutants Annual 2? Is that what it is?
Yeah, that pink one. Yeah,
yeah,
that's what it is.
That cover sucks.
Yeah,
but isn't her first appearance technically like Captain Britain issue 8 or something?
Yep, number 8. Yeah,
which goes for pretty stupid money from what I hear. But
it's multiple thousands. I mean, it's not cheap.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I guess I won't be getting that. Okay. Oh, talking about more. Oh yeah. This one is dedicated to the Forge cousins.
Oh, look at that!
Nice.
This one is still very undervalued in my opinion. I really do.
Cool cover too.
It's super cool. It's a great character. There's a lot of options for him, and I love that back cover. It just reminds me of being a kid. But it's just been sitting in back issue bins for years. No one cares. And so if you do yourself a favor and get some of these, I don't think you're going to be able to buy them much longer for cheap. So I'm quite happy about this. This one I'm really happy to get, even though like everyone and their dog has like 10 of them. But
Bishop.
First Bishop. I just wanted to get one.
I can't believe what that one's going for now. It's
stupid. It's stupid.
Is it over 400 now for that?
Yep. Yeah, it's reached like 450, I believe.
I think one sold over 5 a little while ago too. I think it was an outlier though.
This book in 9/8 last summer or last fall was like $85. I remember just laughing at it, being like, "I will never pay $85 for this," because you see it everywhere, right? Like that is one book that you could tell anybody in any shop to go look for, and it's going to be there. Or
I remember like when TiVo was helping out Mike at Comics, Tunes, and Toys during like the pandemic when everything was shut down and they're doing live sales. He was basically giving those away with orders. It was like $5 for like high grade ones. He's like, "Here, you get one, you get one." You know, and it's just it's nuts.
It's like Oprah. I got another one here, and this was good timing when they came in. And yes, Newbie, you're getting one.
Oh man.
You need extra hands there or what?
I have a couple others too. I bought into this. The idea of Abigail Brand as a character in the MCU I think is really enticing, and the idea that she could potentially be leading like the new sword, like which is Shield essentially. I it sounds like she could be the next Nick Fury, and I just wanted to buy into that. I just think it's cool. I mean, hey, the Raws back in the day were $10-15, and now I think they're 300 in this grade now.
In the summer, you could find Raws for $5 to $10 Canadian, obviously, guys. Max.
I bought a stack.
Max. I was just naive. I was like, I don't know. I don't think so. Because one of my guys, FaceTime, he was talking about that book last summer, and I was like, I don't know, Face. Yeah. And then, look at it now.
I mean, the other way to think about it, though, is there's no way anybody predicted what is happening in comics right now. I mean, it is insanity how prices have jumped over the last like 2 to 3 months. And so, like, there's a lot of books that all of that move has happened in that last 3 months. And so it's easy to see why a lot of people, myself included, would be like, First Bishop, I don't care. But that's why now, like, First Jubilee was nothing, and it's an expensive book.
Yeah. Holy shit, you're dead right. Yeah, it's like $600 or $700 now.
I'm like this close to going to pick up all like the Turok ones now, just because you never know, right?
Well,
like,
dude, that's why I'm buying. That's why I'm buying all those Fantastic Fours and X-Men.
Like, oh fuck! If Turok 1 blows up, I swear.
That's the sign at the top.
Oh no! I'm selling. If that happens, I'm selling everything. I
sell it all,
man.
Yeah, it's done. It's done. Yeah, and then I'm gonna put everything into military-industrial complex stocks because the world's gonna end. We're gonna go with.
Oof! That's yeah.
That's a 300. Or no, that's like a $700 book now.
It's kind of wild.
$1,000 book in Canada.
I've been grabbing this. I have a few now, and I have another one going to CGC at the moment, and it's. I'm super happy to have them. I think there's a lot of potential with this, with Blade and just the horror universe.
Yeah.
And honestly, I didn't even know who she was until last year, and then I read it, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good. And then I kind of followed up on it.
But you can see it. You can see it, right? Like, look at the cover. You see an attractive woman who hunts vampires and all this stuff, right? Like, can you not see that happening? Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it makes sense. Like politically correct terms.
It's like a taillights cover from the Golden.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
I mean, like check out that butt.
Yeah, like I always thought. You know what's funny is I always thought it was like somebody was reaching for her ass on that, like the black. Like I always thought somebody was reaching for it, and then somebody was like, "No, Newbie, just." I was like, "Okay."
Yeah. You're a pervert. Okay, my next one. These are interesting. I've been trying to get a set of these for about 3 years now, and it hasn't been easy for me anyway. And I did it. I did it finally.
Come on! Oh, yeah.
So I have the first cover, the Jay Lee cover, which is
the black one.
Yeah, it's so good. I have two of those, and I like Sentry. I actually think that cover for the black cover is one of the best covers of the era.
I agree.
So are you bringing out that other one too then, or because there's 3, right?
Yeah.
You mean this one?
That one.
Yep, there we go. That's the one.
Yeah, it's an expensive one too.
Yeah.
So I'm quite happy with these. I have the set, and I couldn't be happier. I have a hard time grading this era of book, and I've talked about this before, because they flake along the spine. This era, and I can't, when I see it, like I look at this book right now, and there's like a big flake off of here. But that's just the way they were published.
They don't seem to punish for it.
But it's hard for me to grade that because I would punish for it. So, but I never see them without it. So
that second one is a 1 in 10, I believe.
That's what I was going to say. I thought it was a ratio, but I don't know the ratio on it.
It doesn't say on here.
No.
They never say the ratio on.
No.
Oh, I guess not.
I'm pretty sure it's a 1 in 10. I don't think they made a 1 in 25 for it. I think it's just a 1 in 10.
Well, what's this then?
I can
That's the San Diego Comic-Con one.
Yeah, but what's the ratio of it, do you think?
There's no ratio. It's just limited to San Diego Comic-Con.
Oh, okay. So it's whatever they published. Okay.
Yeah, that one, yeah. If you got the whole set, man, you're pretty good.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah.
So this next book is, I think, one of the most classic Bronze Age books there is. Or not Bronze Age, sorry, Copper Age books there is. And I am very happy to have a 9.8.
Ooh, yeah, nice.
Yeah,
I've been like,
and that's first print.
It's first print.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I couldn't
was
believe the prices on this. It blew my mind.
I was just checking that Century one, the one that's like kind of like the gold and white and black one. It had a high that hit $1,200 last month. So
What?
Yeah,
Really?
9.8. 1,200 on April 25th.
This one.
Yeah.
Yes, that one. $1,200.
Anyone want to buy a Century number 1? That seems crazy. Oh wow.
You know what? I think you would probably be able to like. I know it's crazy and big cash, but I don't think you're going to have a problem selling it as a set because a lot of people can't find it reasonably priced. All three in 9.8 as well.
If I would have had the opportunity to buy it as a set in 9.8, I would have bought it about a year ago. Because I was hunting up and down for it, and I ended up because people wanted so much over market for that book last year. I don't know why.
I think it was $300.
It was, but people wanted 550, 600.
Well, people were specking on it because of the Donny Cates.
Yeah, the God of Light and all that.
Stuff. Then what he got killed by. Man, I don't know modern stuff very well.
Yeah,
but
then
he got killed almost immediately, and then it was just like, oh, he's worth nothing now.
And then the God of Light went to the Micronauts and all that, and then
I'll be frank, the character, I don't think he would work very well in the MCU.
I don't think so either.
He's essentially Superman with like depression, and I just don't know. Superman characters don't work because they're too powerful.
Yeah, it's better to keep them out if you can because they make it too difficult. It's the problem that I think a lot of people have with Captain Marvel is they made her so powerful in the movie, you know, and so it's in that universe. You're just like, she's basically a god in that universe now.
Yeah, but I mean, there's other characters that potentially could do. I mean, Thor could have been that too, but I mean, I think they really wrote that pretty well. They figured that one out pretty well. So, but I'm super stoked about this Batman. Awesome. I don't know why, man. I had a hard time finding this thing. So got it. But saying that, the price of it is so high right now that I almost feel like I need to sell it and turn it into something that I like even more, which would be like a Fantastic Four 48 in a low grade. I'd rather have that.
Yeah. I struggle with that too. You know, where you're like, you have a book and the value gets high enough where you're just like, do I like this dollar amount enough? You know, like that much. You know, and it's just sometimes
is it worth it? So the last my monitor just went on me. I don't know what the hell happened. Just give me a second here. Okay, good. Oh, they're back. Okay, good. So this next book, the last time Jake was with us, but Jake's not here tonight. I don't know. I guess he couldn't show up.
He just messaged. He said there was technical difficulties at the recital, and so he just got out like 5 minutes ago.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Kids.
Damn kids. Yeah, I know that problem. So the last time I saw Jake and Superpower Review, Kevin, we unveiled a book that I had. We've talked about this book a lot tonight, and it's one that I've really invested pretty heavily into, and I love it. I'm a huge fan of it, and I believe in the future of it. And I ended up getting another one of these back.
I saw it when you flipped it up. I was like, God, you got another one.
Oh, jeez.
So I'm going to show you
that is insane. Oh my God.
Yeah, I've got a few.
Oh man.
Yeah. So I'm invested in Moon Knight. I think it's okay. I think it's going to be good.
Yeah, I think you're doing fine.
Yeah. So I mean, I was lucky I got most of them before this giant peak, but the last one was bought at the fairly close to market price, but like the market doubled in the time that I bought it. And I was actually a little shocked that I even paid as much as I did for it. So, but I'm pretty stoked about it. So it's a good night to be a fan of that.
I bought a 9.2 last year for $1,800, and I sold it for $2,800, which was the high at the time, which is now I bet that book is probably like $7,000 now.
7.0s go. It was a 7.5 that sold recently for $4,000.
Yeah,
a 7.5. Yeah, so you're right. A 9.0 or a 9.2 would go for crazy money. And I don't think it's even begun. I mean, people are just turning onto it. And by the way, there's none of these books on the census. There's like 3,200. There's very few. So I don't know. It's got a lot going for it. I'm quite a fan. Obviously, I'm a fan. I've got tons of them. So, but and I still have another one that needs to go to CGC. So,
so you have another Raw.
I do. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think that's going to be in the 6 to 7 range as well, or?
I don't know. I think it's probably going to be more like a 6. So it was bought very cheaply last year, and I don't know. I'm going to send it off to get pressed and stuff. We'll see what happens after that. I don't know. That
was actually when I was a kid, and I didn't know what I was doing at that point. That's one of the books from my original comic collection when I started getting back into it that I had, and first book that was sent off to CGC for grading, and I got a 6.5, and I sold that one also last year, unfortunately. But yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's crazy how the value.
It's funny. Wes Thompson said, "Werewolf by Night 32," the book I always said I'll get that one day. So that was the way I felt about the book too. I never owned a copy till last year, and I was always of the mind that like, it's overpriced. It'll go down one day, and it just won't. It just won't go down. And I had to dive in before.
It's an awesome cover too, though. It is a great first appearance cover.
Yeah, it's funny. I've had people offer me recently, like straight across the board for Marvel Spotlight 5 for Ghost Rider for copies of this, like same grade. Like because that book's hot as hell too. But I've had that offer, so I don't know. I'm probably gonna do it because I don't have one. I don't have a Marvel Spotlight 5.
Man, so grade for grade. I'd have to think about that. Which one?
I don't know. I have to look at the numbers, but I think Marvel Spotlight 5 is in the same ballpark. Like they're floating around the same place.
I mean, like I've got a 6.5, and I think it's probably around. It's a little over 3. I would say it's probably.
Yeah, but that's what Werewolf by Night 6.5 would be about $3,000 as well. But once you get to 7s, yeah, 7s are around 300 to 500. So it's crazy, man. It's crazy how much this stuff's worth.
Now Marvel Spotlight 5, it accelerates faster at those higher grades. Like an 8 is 8 to a 9 is going to cost $9,000. You know, it's $8,000, something like that.
What do you think the census is on that? On a Marvel Spotlight 5? Yeah.
I bet it's similar. I bet it's around 3 to 4,000.
Well, I'm gonna look it up. I don't know if you guys. I have time.
I don't think I've ever looked that up.
Well, I'm going to do it right now. Marvel Spotlight 5.
I know somebody offered me a Marvel Spotlight 1.0, I think it was, or 1.8.
Yeah, 3,500.
For my ASM 300 one time, and I was like, no.
Yeah, 3,500. Yeah. That's not very many. That's the numbers of Werewolf by Night.
I mean, it's like when you compare it to like Amazing Spider-Man 129. That one, it's like 11,000.
Well, I think it broke 13 recently in the last year.
I'm usually going Blue Label, so I think it might be 13 total. Yeah,
you're right. I love that book, man. I still think that book's undervalued. Now.
100% it is.
Yeah.
So that's something I've been kind of looking at, kind of to try to grasp when I should maybe sell some certain books. And I'm trying to look at like how much certain books have moved up percent-wise in the last.
Because some have stopped, like plateaued.
Yes.
Yeah,
a lot of X-Men books have stopped. A lot of them have started to plateau. But Amazing Spider-Man 129, it started later. It has not gone up like those others, and that is, it is arguably one of. I mean, it's in the top 5 easily of Bronze Age
for sure.
And so. I don't know if that one should go up. I think it should be priced approximately where Giant Size X-Men 1 is. A little less.
I think you're right. I completely agree. I'm a little older than you guys, but when I was a kid, that was the book. Like Punisher was so big, and he's never been that way ever since. And maybe it was the Reagan era, but like he was in everything, and he would just do like a little appearance, like his 20th appearance in like Punisher issue, Wolverine issue, whatever. And that book was worth $12, and everything else around it was worth $2. No matter what he was in, it was worth money. And I just remember worshiping it, and the idea of owning a 129 was just like crazy back then.
Like when I was a kid, I had like it was the Punisher War journals. Those are those are always the ones that we
completely.
Got. It was like Armory or something like that, or
I didn't miss that. I think I was out of comics by Armory time, but actually, Punisher War Journal #1 starting to gain steam. Like people, like your age are getting it because it's their book.
It's the next best thing too.
I will say an undervalued book is the Punisher Limited Series #1. It is. You can still get 9/8 for under $1,000.
Oh, I was gonna say not too undervalued. It's getting up
Yeah.
there. $1,000
But I could see that book going into the 2-3 range. It was such a big deal book when we were kids, and it was kind of the second book you'd get because I mean, there's the magazine, which is like this second appearance, I think, of Punisher.
The Marvel preview.
Yeah,
is it 4?
And it's with
like
a pretty penny, but at the end of the day, magazines they're not comics, and they're never going to be comics, and people just don't want to have them next to their comics. So I still think a Punisher Limited Series is a great deal.
Well, that's one of his best covers. It's an awesome cover. I love
it's incredible. Yeah. Dude, all of those things are crazy. Like Mike Zack, we were talking about this in my last video. Mike Zack is potentially it might be the best cover artist of the 80s. People forget, like they literally, if you went looking, you look at it like that Captain America Annual 8, where Wolverine's like blasting through his shield. It's like one of the great, and all those like great Batman covers he did. There is not a bad cover. Like he just kills covers. So and all the GI Joe ones.
And just like the interview that Three Men did with Jim Shooter, where he was talking about Mike Zack coming up with or not. He didn't come up with Black Suit Spider-Man, but drew Black Suit Spider-Man. And it's like iconic characters that you have been loved for decades now.
Saying that, I heard a story about that. I don't know if this is true. I heard that some kid was paid $150 because he sent in a version of the
That's why I said he didn't come up with it. It was a kid, and they bought the idea, but then they drew it.
Is that true though? So it is true.
From everything I've heard, it is. No, somebody maybe in the chat can correct me or.
Yeah, no, totally. I think it's a cool little thing. What's Peter Carroll say? Totally agree with you about Punisher, Chris. I collected in the 80s, and the Zek cover Punisher 1 Limited was huge. Great cover, but I prefer the Captain America Annual 8. I don't disagree with that statement. I think that's a very smart statement, Peter Carroll. So, but yeah, it's funny. It's the way comics are right now and the way the prices are going. I literally have to think, what did I enjoy when I was like 11? Because all those books are going through the roof right now.
Yeah.
And every single one. And and I'm like, what hasn't gone through the roof? And I'm looking at like back when I was a kid, something that I've noticed is all the artist issues were massive.
Start piling up those glow in the dark Ghost Riders because I feel like
I missed
that of them in my long box over here. So.
I missed that one. I think I was just getting out of comics when that one hit, but maybe those. But I was a little bit before that. What I'm saying is like when John Byrne would do a cover or Frank Miller actually he has a bunch of books that were worth a fortune like to a kid. But they were like highly desirable. But like even first appearances of artists when we were kids, like first John Byrne on X-Men, that was like the second biggest book in that run when in like 1985, 86. Like it was the most expensive. It was so expensive. And now it's like one of the lowest valued ones. No one gives a shit about it.
Yeah. First art time people first time you have the artists, they don't really command much of a premium unless there's something else with it.
I agree.
Like Astonishing Tales 25. It's first George Perez, but it's also first Deathlock.
Oh, but you're only buying it for Deathlock. That's it.
Yeah.
But I'm going to ask the question. Like, I remember Daredevil 158 was the most expensive Daredevil book next to issue 1.
58 was what?
First Frank Miller.
First Frank Miller.
Okay.
Yeah.
On Daredevil.
And it was a big deal. And it's not even a particularly great book, but it was huge then. But now it just is what it is. And I'm wondering, is that a tide that'll turn one day? Is that something?
Look at origin stories and look at cameos, right? It seems like cameos have taken precedent over origin, but I remember back in 13, 14, like origin stories were like a big deal, man. Like people would big bucks for origin stories. And like, I was talking to Jay and Matt at Pressable Defects, and they brought up a good point, and it was funny because we were both talking it. They did a video where they talked about X-Men 161, and then like a few days later, I did the same thing. But the origin of Magneto, it was like a $30, $40 book, and you're talking about one of the most iconic villains of all time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, totally. You're dead right. Well, it's crazy. I just sold a really high-grade copy of The Origin of Dr. Doom, which I think is annual
Annual 2.
Yeah, Annual 2.
Yeah.
Fantastic Four. But I sold it last year, and I'm just kicking myself for selling that thing because it's such a cool book.
There was one on my comic shop last summer that I think it was a 3.0, and it sold for I think it was like 300 US.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going for a lot more now.
Fantastic Four, that is one of the runs of books where their annuals are awesome. Like there are just key after key in that.
Yep.
In that, I mean, because you've got 1, 2, and 6 are big. And then I'm trying to think if like 3 or 4 have some. There are some.
Oh no, issue 3 is the one that has Submariners for Origin or something, isn't it? Issue.
I thought it was 1.
Oh, you're right. It's 1. Yeah, but that's a good one too. And it's like, there's some great stuff there. Actually, to be honest, Fantastic Four, there isn't a bad book except for issue 67's cover. But other than that, it's I have 5 copies of issue 67, so I shouldn't shit on it too much. But it's
loaded. I mean, when I try to compare like runs of books, to me it's Fantastic Four and Amazing Spider-Man. Those their first 100 issues are both
they're crazy.
They're packed, and I think Fantastic Four's got to take it because it gets strong again later on. Whereas Amazing Spider-Man is you've got issue 50. But other than that, there's not a lot going on.
It dies down until the hundreds.
Yeah.
Like 101 and then 129 and then 194.
But I do
121 and 122. Like
I will say this about Spider-Man books. I think if you have high grade of any of those books, like over issue 50, anything, it's worth getting simply because if you look at like Batman, like from the 40s and 50s, they're the equivalent, really. They're only 20 years apart. And like there's not a bad book in that batch, of Batman's first 100 issues, and they're all desirable just to own. Yeah. And I think inevitably those Amazing Spider-Mans will be the same thing as they get older.
Something that I think is always crazy to think about is that you're right. It's only about 20 years difference. Yeah. And if you think about that versus going into the 80s, it feels like many more decades. Which you're going back to
possibly centuries. Yeah. Yeah, it really does, doesn't it?
And with Spider-Man 2, like, you got to be very careful because for the longest time, I was scooping up issue number 37. 12 center, early Spider-Man. You're talking about first appearance of Norman Osborn. And those things, like mid-grades, were going for like $40. I was finding those raw in shops. Like,
that's a still relatively cheap book.
Yeah.
Which I think is actually a really undervalued book. Yeah. Severely undervalued book. And I think people are going to be freaking out in about a year or two, like because that's a character that's got to be brought back.
Well, that's like issue 31, first Gwen Stacy and Harry Osborn. Like that book was worth very little.
I know. I got one.
That one suffers from like an ugly cover. Not to say 37 isn't the most attractive. I think in both cases, I think you have to look at the cover. Right, they're not the most appealing covers. Like they're not.
I've heard some people that really like it, but I agree. I'm not a huge fan of the cover of 31.
I'm going to throw out a really controversial thing here in the comic world. I think Ditko kind of stinks. I like his Doctor Strange stuff, but I don't like Ditko. I find
comments made by Vancouver Comic Junkie are not the comments that are reflected on Newbie or automatically.
But you told me to say that.
No.
What did I do?
I do prefer Romita's Spider-Man.
Yeah, me too.
But, me too. But there are a number of covers that I like of his that are in earlier on.
Yeah, I mean, if you keep throwing shit against the wall, it's gonna stick eventually. Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. I'm totally exaggerating.
Man.
I love his Doctor Strange stuff. That stuff's incredible.
Yeah.
And I do enjoy a lot of his stuff. I'm just the amount of he's not to me like even close to a Kirby or anyone like that. But I don't know. I just think when Romita took over for Spider-Man, it was like a game changer for me. It just got interesting looking. Quite frankly, when I think of Spider-Man, I think of Romita and not the older stuff. But maybe that's just me. Probably because I couldn't afford it. So that's probably the case. Yeah. What are you looking at, Newbie?
Yeah, I got Avatar.
You keep zoning out, man. It's like
I got Avatar on the TV, and I haven't watched it since I seen it in theaters. So it's kind of at the part where they take down the tree. Spoiler alert! Sorry, they take down the tree, so it's like
you ruined it for me. Wow. Do you know that movie broke, or they just beat Avengers Endgame as the biggest movie again? Because they re-released it in China. And it made another like $500 million.
They got I was looking at IMB or whatever, and they got like 4 more movies coming out.
Yep.
Avatar.
Yeah, I know tons of guys that are working on it. There's 2 of them. They're doing 2 of them like back to back. But
they
have plans for 4.
Right?
But it's next year. It's the end, like Christmas
like,
next year.
What story can you tell? Like,
it's
I
funny,
get it. But
it's the biggest movie in history. It's like I can't remember one line of dialogue from that movie. But I will say this: if you watch the movie, it's pretty good.
Right.
Like, no one can. It's not like it's iconic.
It's Pocahontas, though. If you actually think about it and break it down, it's Pocahontas.
I just got best score here. Sorry, I've always been amazed at how undervalued early spectacular Spider-Man books are.
Yeah,
that's interesting. That's a weird run, man. Like issue 1 it's never taken off. I don't know why.
I don't know anything about Spectacular Spider-Man run other than I think like
White Tiger.
27.
This is Frank Miller.
Frank Miller.
Yeah.
9 and 22, I think. No, I'm thinking 9. Sorry.
There's a couple keys, but it's. I remember you used to see stacks in number 1 everywhere, and it would be like worth $20, and I think it's still worth $20.
And graded, I think it's only like 100, maybe 150.
Damn.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind having a 9.8 copy of it just to have it, but I wouldn't probably pay what a 9.8 goes for. I'm sure it's not 100 at 9.8.
That's how I felt about like Web of Spider-Man too, though. Like for the longest time, I was contemplating like grabbing number 1 because it's like a cool Venom cover, right? Black suit cover, and I'm just like I don't know.
It's funny. Everyone's freaking out about how all these books from these eras are going up so radically. And I always remind myself, like in the 90s, when I got back into comics, like in the late 90s, around CGC, when CGC came back, around 2001, I kind of got back into comics. And all the 70s books were becoming really expensive. And like, I think a Hulk 1 or 181 sold for $1,000 in a CGC 9.8. And everyone was just like, what the hell? That's bullshit. Like they were losing their minds. Like, I'm quitting comics. This is crazy. And,
little do they know, eh? Like,
yeah, but it's like, it's interesting. You're starting to see that now with the 80s books and 90s books. It's like, it's just like transferred. And the one angle of it that's really funny, but I think people are starting to tune into, was all the oddball books from the 70s. Like there was weird stuff like Groovy #1 and like all these weird things that Marvel produced that you have no idea. Okay, kids books and stuff. Those all went through the roof, and they're not even worth that much now. But back then, like Laurel and Hardy #1 that DC made, like it was $1,000 in 9.8. But like now, I think you could buy it for $200 in 9.8. But like people went nuts for it.
Investment.
Yeah, but I'm seeing people do that now with like Chuck Norris Karate Commandos.
Yeah,
it's starting to like gain steam, and I'm like, oh my god, like it's all happening. It's like the Matrix. It's all happening again.
Yeah,
where's Neo?
I think you can put that one in as like nostalgia, right? When you think of that one.
completely.
The nostalgia buys have been pretty incredible, like the Thundercats, Transformers.
There's a few that are still like undervalued though. If you look, I mean, like the A-Team, Nom,
Ghostbusters.
Some of the He-Man stuff is still like the Masters of the Universe stuff is.
Well, the show's that animated show starts soon, right? Like they've already teased it, so I don't know for how much longer.
What's that? What's that first appearance of He-Man? It's DC Comics Presents 47.
47. Yep.
Yeah.
What's that go for?
Ooh, now
it's over $1,000 in a 9.8. It's like 15, I think.
Well, considering what Joe's and Transformers goes, why not? It deserves it. I mean, it's
got Skeletor on the cover, so
that's kind of cool. I mean, look at Transformers. There's Transformers #1s selling for $3,800.
I mean, the big difference though, I think, is it's Marvel versus DC. Yeah. I mean, that is. I mean, that's the thing that I've kind of looked at with like. I've done some of these market things where it's like a DC book right now moving big since last year is like 100%. A Marvel book moving big is like 400%. And so they just, I know a lot of people are saying like it means the DC books are undervalued, but they're not undervalued unless DC starts taking care of their property.
They're not going. Just so you know, they're not going to. They're not doing it. No. And the Black Adam tells me that. Like seeing Black Adam exists tells me they don't know what the hell they're doing with DC Universe. They're only making it because The Rock took notice of it.
They think that's going to be their saving grace too. I mean,
and it is not.
I mean, the problem, like, I like the stuff The Rock is in, but the
Me
problem
too.
is he always plays The Rock.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know.
In dreadfully forgetful movies. Like, quote me some
Scorpion King
lines.
was amazing. Okay, it
That was 25
revolutionary
years ago.
2003.
I think
Or
yeah, it was
four.
like
I don't know.
I think it was even earlier. Yeah, 2002.
It's funny because I had that movie. I was bored out of my mind the other day, and we watched on Netflix like The Mummy 1, 2, 3 or whatever.
What's your favorite movies?
I love the
those
first
movies.
Mummy movie. I love
Yeah,
that.
but
movie.
you see him, and you're like, who is this skinny guy? Because like you look at him now compared to that, and it's like, my God.
Yeah, he is. I mean, I don't know if he's on steroids, but man.
You don't know, really,
man.
Ryan? You don't know? Come on.
He works out every day.
Yeah.
Diet, all that.
He eats his vitamins and he eats his spinach. Yeah. No, that guy's on HGH at bare minimum.
The crazy thing is Chris Helmsworth. Like, he turned into a monster in the last 6 months.
There's so many chemicals going into his body to get like that. There's no way he's not taking something. You just can't do. I mean, I used to do that kind of stuff when I was in my 20s, and it's really difficult to get that.
I imagine.
Look at Christian Bale. Like, I saw some leaked photos of him for God the Butcher. He looks like and I don't want to offend anybody, but like he looks like he's
like 140
emo or something.
Yeah.
But then you look at his Batman and it's like he's jacked.
Did you hear like when he did Batman, the first one, Batman Begins? Is that what it was called? Batman Begins, the first Nolan one. Yeah. He had done a movie prior to it where he was 120 pounds.
Yeah, The Machinist.
Yeah, which was amazing, and we can all agree he's a great actor. But when he showed up on set to do that movie, he was 235 pounds. Like, he put on that in muscle in like 7 months. Come on,
it can't be good for like actors.
No.
Oh no, it's not. I'm sure it's not good for them. It can't be healthy.
No, your heart's just like trying to.
You're making up for it with huge paychecks.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, at the end of the day, he probably knocked like a couple of years off his life, but he's like, his lifestyle is now incredible. But he better not keep doing it, which it sounds like he is. So.
Well, for this movie that's coming up, I mean, he's gonna have.
I'm sure he's got to be big. Yeah, I would assume he is for that movie, but
I don't know. It sounds like he's a mocap character for the Thor movie. If you think about it, yeah, it's like fully mocap. So I don't know. That's what I'm seeing or hearing.
I just imagine Chris Pratt is like getting upset. I wonder what like the texts are like between him and Hemsworth, where he's like, just stop a little bit. He's like, just hold it back a little bit.
I'm just looking forward.
I got in good shape for that Guardians of the Galaxy movie, and you just make me look like nothing again.
Oh yeah, Chris Pratt. He got ripped, man. He
did really you look at him from Parks and Rec to like that.
He was 300 pounds. I guess he started at 300 pounds.
I love the line when he came back for that next season of Parks and Rec, where they're like, "Oh, you're looking like you're in great shape." He's like, "Yeah, I cut out Pop."
Yeah.
It's like, that's so good.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love Parks. My kids are old enough now to start watching that stuff, so
I love that show, man.
It's kind of getting revisited in our house, so I love it too. But I don't know. It's what I gotta ask you about the DC comics. Sorry, my eyes are all weird. I hear a lot of people like you should drop Marvel and start investing heavy in DC, and I just can't. I can't bring myself to do it. I will never.
I buy DC
Batman
books because I like some of the DC books. Like I buy Golden Age Batman stuff. I'll buy some like the Silver Age keys, some Bronze Age keys, but like for the most part, I buy them because I like them. I don't buy them because I think they're gonna be spiking.
Yeah.
I went big on Suicide Squad when it first came out. I went pretty big on like those new 52s. I remember I had like 6 or 7, like 9/8, send them off of CGC, whatever.
Yeah.
And those cost me so much trouble and headache, just trying to get rid of them, man.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I right now I'm trying to get for my own collection is the Green Lantern 76, which is actually a terrible spec book, but because there's nothing really in it outside of.
It's one of my favorite covers of all time, though. I love that cover.
It's one of my all-time favorite books, and I don't own it, and I really would like to own a copy. So that's going to be something I'm going to go for, and it's pretty reasonable if you really look at the price of it. It's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it gets expensive quick when you get up around an 8 and above. I mean, you're going to be spending over $1,000 or close to it.
That's good.
But like mid-grade copies, yeah, a few $100, you know, two to 500, something like that.
And also, I do like a good Neil Adams Batman cover. There's nothing wrong with that, and I've been kind of slowly buying a few of those here and there, but not obviously nothing like Marvel at all. But Batman was like my guy when I was a kid too, so because I lived through the whole like Michael Keaton movie phase where like Batman took over the planet it was like Star Wars for like a whole year, and like you had to be a Batman fan, or
I'm afraid to go back and watch those.
They're not good. Oh no, do you know you should?
Like number 2 is terrible.
It's terrible.
George Clooney was the greatest Batman of all time.
I like George Clooney, but that movie sucked. He was a good Bruce Wayne. Saying that, if you watch the movie,
the one who had Mr. Freeze. That's the best.
Yeah, but chill out. Anyway, the first one, if you watch it, watch how slow everyone moves. Like he's like standing there with his cape, and he's like, ugh, and lifts his cape up. It's so weird. Like watch it again. It's pretty fascinating. And they're on like every streaming channel going, so it's not like it's a hard thing to watch. I still love that stuff, man. Do you know what I watched recently? Was do you guys ever see Captain America by Canon Pictures? Came out in like 1991.
No, I've seen pictures.
Terrible.
I've seen pictures of it, and I was like,
That's
it's terrible. But J.D. Salinger's son was Captain America, like the actual author played him, and he was going to be this big, huge celebrity. But man, the movie was unwatchable.
Yeah, so. It's a motorcycle helmet. Like it was terrible.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. But they did
comic book movies really like. I mean, outside of like Blade
and X-Men,
and the first X-Men movies, just garbage.
Yeah,
just garbage.
And you know, Batman, the first Batman was good for what it was.
The first Batman. Yep.
Yeah, for what it was. And 2 had its moments, but not many. But yeah, it just fell apart. The problem is that everyone in the film industry just looked at comics like everything had to be Dutch angles and goofy. Like that was what comics were. And it really, Blade changed the game. Like really did.
I mean, go watch the Hulk movie from, what is it, like 2003?
Yeah.
Where they do all these weird camera things where they're like, they go boxes on stuff. Like I just was watching like scenes from it recently. I'm like, what is this? It's like they tried to make it look like a comic, and it did not work.
I actually don't hate half that movie. Like because the Hulk's my favorite character, and I was like really jazzed to see it. The first half, I'm like, okay, I'm into this, and then it turned into like a stage play about like hating my father at the end, and I couldn't even tell you what was wrong. I don't even remember the ending. It's just a mess. So I love the Hulk, and I feel like they've never fully done him right. But that's just.
I like him in the current MCU.
He's good. He's decent. Yeah, for sure. But Punisher as well. I've never I don't even like I don't mind the new Punisher, but I still think the closest Punisher they ever got to was Warzone, where he was just blowing the people apart all the time. I love that movie. So
I haven't watched the Netflix series. I heard it was good, but
it's good. It's worth watching, definitely. And they're using that actor for going forward. And when you see it, you'll understand why. He's quite good at it. So
my problem is I hated him in The Walking Dead. I hated him so much.
He's kind of a prick, eh?
Yeah. Well, my problem was in the comics, they kill him so quickly. But it's like they wanted to keep the actor, so they changed the storyline to keep him hanging around, and it made me really dislike it.
Oh, hey, check this out. Jake or Omega Red just showed up. Looking good, guys. Still going? I just got home with my kids' recital. What a nightmare. I'm sorry. Hey, Jake, jump on for a minute. We're going to go into the backstage in a second and have a chat with us. But why don't we end this and go to the backstage?
Yeah, for sure.
Sounds good.
But I just wanted to say something here. I wanted to thank everyone for coming out and watching the show. We're just talking comics, a bunch of nerds talking comics. And it's nice to be able to share it with a small community that we have here. And also, Paul, I can't say your last name, Luki and Echo. Is that how you say it? I hope I said it right. He said, what about Jack Kirby's Demon? I think that's a really underrated book. I love that book. I love anything Jack Kirby.
It hadn't moved for a long time, and it finally started going up in price recently.
Is it really?
So, oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, like I think I had a 9.2 that had been stuck at around like 250, 275, and I think it hit around 500.
Whoa.
So, yeah.
Man, that used to be a dollar bin book too, I remember. And then we got Peter Carroll saying, "Here's hoping the Fantastic Four is they do the Fantastic Four right in the movies soon." I couldn't agree more. But MCU seems to do things right.
Yeah,
They seem to be doing it right. Even Captain Marvel, the worst one.
I always count on them. They've never really, even the bad movies, like
they're pretty good.
Like the bad ones, like Iron Man 3 drives me nuts because of all the
whoa.
But it's
no,
still
Iron Man
fun.
3 is a piece of shit.
Oh,
No, for sure. As far as those movies, but it's still pretty good.
Why didn't you use the house party at the beginning? It's just like, come on.
These are facts. I still think that Captain Marvel's the one I'm most wonky with because I love cosmic stuff so much, and I just felt like it. I wanted more cosmic stuff with her.
I think it also had to do with Brie Larson too. Like,
no, I liked her. I was fine with her. Yeah, totally fine with her.
I don't know. That's the only Marvel movie I've only seen once, and then the only one I haven't seen is the New Mutants one. So,
and again, it's fine.
New Mutants is Sony though, right?
Yeah,
Fox.
So
it was Fox before they were Fox.
Okay.
But hey, let's call it a night, and we're gonna go to the backstage. We can talk more of this stuff and have a few drinks. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you soon. I'm gonna have some more videos coming. Like and subscribe, and also you should check out Ryan at Automatic Comics. He's got the best videos, and go to Newbie Comics too. He does a ton of content. So if you need stuff to do, Newbie's got you covered. Anyway, I will see you guys soon, and have a great night.
Yeah, night.
Bye, guys.